everyone, and welcome back to my channel. This is Erica from Confessions of a Homeschooler, and I have another spinning video for you today. The last one I did kind of a review slash what to look for in a spinning wheel, and that one was on the SpinOlution King Bee. So if you want to see that video or more information about that wheel, I will link that video below. Today I'm going to do a review for this little guy right here, and this is the SpinOlution Echo. I absolutely love this wheel. I'm going to kind of show you some of its features. It's super easy to use. I'll also tell you where I got it and all the details about it. And then towards the end of this video, we'll do a little bit of spinning so you can kind of see how it spins, some of the options that you have as far as spinning on this wheel, some of the ratios and things like that. And then I'll do a little bit of a fiber haul to kind of share with you some of my favorite places to get fiber from. This video isn't sponsored by the fiber people that I'm going to be mentioning or anything. It's just some of my favorite shops and places where I found fiber to be really, really great to spin and just good sellers. So sometimes it's hard when you're buying fiber online. So hopefully that'll be helpful to some of you. So just a little bit of back information if you missed my other video. I took a beginning spinning class, I think it was in March or at the beginning of April. I've only been spinning for a couple of months now, and so just to give you guys a little bit of a background on how long I've been spinning, I'm still definitely a new spinner. My spinning is getting better every day. My advice to you if you're a new spinner is to spin every day for about maybe 15 or 20 minutes. I wouldn't go too far past that because your hands start getting fatigued and you can just start messing up and then you start getting frustrated with yourself. It's definitely a learning curve. Spinning isn't something you could just sit down and just sort of, oh, I'm going to spin today and just suddenly take off with it. You definitely have to give it a little practice and a little bit work. But once you get it down, it's actually really easy and very relaxing. I love spinning. It makes me feel like I'm doing something. I tend to be kind of a tightly wound person. I like to be doing something all the time. This kind of satisfies that need to be doing something with my hands or creating something, but at the same time, really, I'm just sitting down and relaxing, and it kind of gives my body a little bit of a, chill out session, which I definitely need with our fast-paced lifestyle. So that's kind of why I love to spin at this point. It's very relaxing. It's a lot of fun. You can take it outside. It's not something that has to be plugged in. You don't need power for it. So it's just very kind of back to basics and just nice and relaxing kind of activity. I love taking it outside. It's warm now, and so I'll take it out back or put it on the porch or whatever, and then I can watch the kids play while I'm sitting outside spinning. So totally loving the process. A little bit of background on where I took my classes and that kind of thing. I took my classes from a lady named Karen at Blazing Star Ranch. She is in the Englewood, Colorado area, so if you are in that area, I highly recommend visiting her shop. Even if you're not into spinning, she raises alpacas, and so she has her own fiber that she has spun. You can buy fiber there, you can buy yarn. She has all kinds of different roving. One of the great things about, she also does knitting and weaving classes. She has kind of the fiber arts gamut of classes going on there, so you can definitely check her out. You don't have to be into spinning to do it, but she also offers beginning spinning classes. She's extremely patient and kind. I took it with a friend of mine. She was very, very patient with us. One of the benefits, I think, to going and taking a class somewhere versus teaching yourself online, I'm kind of an online learner. I like to teach myself things online. I definitely made the effort to go and take a class for this particular craft, mainly because it's really helpful to have a person it's hard to tell what you're doing wrong with spinning because you can watch a bunch of videos, but then when you go to try and do it, it's kind of another experience. So it's really helpful to have an actual teacher there. The other main benefit to going somewhere to take a class is that, for Karen anyways, she has a variety of wheels to try out. They're all a little bit different. They all feel a little different. They spin a little bit different. The treadling, just feels different. And so it's really, really helpful to be able to go and try out different wheels and just see which one fits your needs best. I obviously fell in love with SpinOlution wheels immediately. It was just the easiest wheel for me to treadle. I kind of sat there trying to spin it one way and then spinning it the other way and just controlling my spin and my direction and all of that stuff. And I had there was no learning curve really for me to do it with a SpinOlution. I felt like the treadling was super easy. The wheels aren't complicated to set up or anything. They're really kind of like a just sit down and go kind of wheel. You don't have to do a lot of setup or preparation or fiddling with it to get it to, you know, do what you want and that kind of thing. So these were really, really my favorite, my top pick, especially if you're a beginning spinner. But I think even if you're an advanced spinner, they have all the features that you would need. You definitely want to look at a wheel as like an investment piece. So one of my favorite things about this particular wheel, obviously I like these, I did the King Bee and now I'm looking at the Echo, is just their ease of use, especially if you're a beginning spinner like I am. But I think even if you are an experienced spinner as well, they have all the features you really need. You wouldn't need to start with this wheel and then move up to a different wheel or anything like that. You kind of look at your wheel as an investment piece. You're going to purchase it, you're going to have it for a long time. You want to make sure that it can do all of the different things that you want it to be able to do, and just to be able to give yourself a little bit of variety, because I think once you get to spinning and you finally start getting more consistent in your spinning and things like that, you want to kind of try out different styles or techniques. You want to be able to have a wheel that's going to be able to grow with you, and I think the Echo is a perfect option for you. Now SpinOlution does have several different versions of wheels, as do most of the other wheel companies out there. They have a smaller one, which I started on with my class with Karen, and that one was the Polywog. It was great for me to begin on. It's actually really transportable. It's super lightweight. It was great for my kids, actually. I did find that I would have outgrown that wheel. I wouldn't have wanted to necessarily get the Polywog if you know, I wanted to be able to start spinning thicker things and whatnot. The Polywog comes with a 4-ounce bobbin. This one, the Echo, you can actually get with either, you can do 4, 8, or 16 ounces, I think, on this one. This is an 8-ounce bobbin, so a 4-ounce would be half of that weight. And on here right now, I've got, it's got quite a bit of space left. I'll show you an up close of this. But I have a full 4-ounce braid that I spun on here as singles, and so I definitely still have more room that I could put more on this bobbin. One of the things with the 4-ounce bobbin with the Polywog I found was I was filling my bobbins up really fast and feeling like I just wanted it to be bigger so I could get more on there. And so if you're looking at a new wheel, I kind of would lean away from the 4-ounce bobbins. I think the 8-ounce is a perfect option for me. Maybe 16 if you want to do the art yarn. SpinOlution also offers like a 32 and a 64-ounce bobbin. They're like ginormous. I don't know that I would ever use that, but if you're really into art yarn, that would probably be the way to go. From what I understand, you cannot put that on the Echo though. You would have to do that. They have a larger version kind of called the Mach 3, and you would have to do that to do the 32 or the 64-ounce. Now this particular one, you can get them in different setups. You can do a 4-ounce if you want to. I'm going to read you the prices as of right now. I can't guarantee these prices because, you know, companies change prices and things like that. But this particular one, I did the 8-ounce flyer. It came with 3 bobbins, so there's a bobbin on there, plus it came with 2 more bobbins. The Echo does not come with a lazy Kate, so that's something to be just think about. The King Bee did come with a lazy Kate on board, which was really nice. I'll show you my fix for that for this in a little bit, but that would be an added accessory. You can also buy a Swift as well for this as an added accessory. The lazy Kate actually attaches right here, kind of where your head attaches. This whole section can come off, and then you can put your lazy Kate on, so it's kind of nice if you want to go that route. But it does come with the 2 other bobbins. The particular setup I have here with the 8-ounce with the 3 bobbins is, I believe, $769. And then if you wanted to upgrade to the 16-ounce with, you could do with 3 bobbins, it's $869. And then they have a couple other packages where you can get, you know, you can do the, I have the hook orifice here, which I'll show you in a second, but you can do the tube orifice, and you can, you know, get more features and things like that, but that's all available on their website. So the one that I got also has the 4-speed flyer in the back, and I'll show you that as well. All the ratios that you can get are on their website, so that you can kind of go and see all the, you know, in detailed information. All right, just some of the other specifications. The King Bee is great if you're traveling because it folds up. It's really lightweight. I would say that the Echo, other than I worry a little bit about it traveling, it's really lightweight. It's easy for me to take upstairs, downstairs, outside. You can travel with it. You can just lay it flat and on its back in your car, and as long as, you know, stuff isn't banging into it. I would just be careful You could even take this apart if you wanted to. I just am careful about, I don't want to break the flyer, and then there's some foot pedals down here that I'm also a little bit leery of breaking off. So just be careful if you're traveling with it. But it only weighs, I think it's 14 pounds. It's 28.5 inches tall. And 19.25 inches wide, and then 12 inches deep. So it's actually not very big. It doesn't take up very much room. I have it usually either in my living room or in our bedroom. We have a bay window up there and a chair, and so I love to just sit up there and spin. I can watch out over the lake, and it's just really nice and peaceful. But then when I'm done, I just kind of set it up next to the wall, and it really only sticks out 12 inches. It's not like, you know, a huge space. So that's another thing I really like about this. It's lightweight, it's easy for me to carry around, doesn't take up a lot of space. One of the things that I was worried about at this wheel is the just how sturdy it was. The King Bee was super sturdy. It had a really great base on it, and just from looking at pictures, the Echo seemed like it was going to be a lot thinner to me. And so when I got it, I was like, I hope it doesn't wobble or anything on carpet, just because it doesn't seem like it's very sturdy. But as soon as I got it, I was very pleasantly surprised. It doesn't wobble around at all. It is on hard floor right now, but I mostly spin on carpet. I haven't had a single problem. It doesn't wobble or anything. It's very sturdy, actually, how it's set up. It's balanced. One of the things that did happen as soon as I got it home from Karen's shop, because we tried it out in her shop before I left, and it was great. I was so excited, and I got it home, and the wheel was like wobbling, and so I texted Karen immediately, and I was like, Karen, what happened? This wheel is like, you know, the wheel's warped. Of course, that was my first thought. And they have instructions on how to balance your wheel at home, and sometimes when you transport it, the wheel can kind of get off balance a little bit. So we just watched one of their tutorial videos on YouTube. It's on their website and all of that, that showed us how to balance the wheel, and then it's been totally fine. So it just can get jostled around a little bit in shipping and things like that. And so something to know if you get your wheel and you feel like it's doing something crazy, just look on their website. SpinOlution is great about having tutorials and videos showing you how to change belts or balance your wheel, or, you know, change flyer, whatever. So they have all of that on their website. So, all right, so I think those are the basic details of this. Let's see, it looks like, okay, so for the 8 ounce, I have 4 speed ratios on the back, and I kind of told you that. They are 1 to 2, 1 to 2.5, 1 to 4, 1 to 5, and 1 to 8. And then if you do the 16 ounce, it has 3 speeds, and the 4 ounce has 3. You can do 3 or 4 speeds on that one. So all that information is on their website. I'm not experienced enough yet to know what those different speeds exactly mean. I just kind of go by feel right now, and so I'll move my drive band here, you know, up and down the whirls until I find something that I'm comfortable with, and it's giving me the results that I want. So I'll kind of show you what that looks like too. So let's take a little bit closer look at this wheel. So here is my bobbin. This has 4 ounces of single spun on it, and as you can see, I actually have quite a bit of room on either side and even on my bobbin, so it's not even full. I could definitely get more on here, which is really nice. And then if you look on the back here, you can see all of the different whirls. So this particular one has 4 speeds. This is the 8 ounce 4-speed head, and I can go down here on the bottom, the middle, this one, and then there's also a groove right here along the wood that it can go on. And I'll kind of show this in action for you, but you just simply, to move it, you just simply pick it up and move it. It's really easy to change out, and you can go up or down depending on your needs. And then right here on the back is the tension knob, and you can simply loosen it or tighten it, and I usually just kind of do that until I get enough pull on my bobbin that I feel like my yarn isn't sucking out of my hand, you know, at a forceful rate, but enough that it's also not, you know, that it's pulling on nicely. So, and that'll just depend, you'll just be, that'll just depend on how thick your yarn is or how thin the yarn is that you're spinning, and you just kind of have to adjust it based on that, but it's really quite easy. And then down here, and this is how the King Bee is as well. and kind of most of the SpinOlution wheels. You can pull apart your treadles here, and then you can get to any of these knobs if you need to. I don't really know why you'd ever need to get in here and mess with it, but if you had to, you could. And they have replacement parts and things like that on their website. And then you can also just grab this drag band and pull it off through that hole as well. So makes it really easy to replace parts. As you can see, here's kind of a close-up of what the wheel looks like. It's got this lovely cutout here. It's just kind of got a, in my opinion, it's kind of got just like a nice natural look to it. So I really do like that. And as you can see, there's not a lot of wobbling or anything. I'll show you spinning here in just a second, but it just goes really nice and easy. And I'll stop talking for a sec so you can kind of hear it. Sorry, that's me knocking because I'm trying to do this with my hands. But as you can hear, there's not really any noise coming out of this. Little bit of flyer noise, but that's it. So the treadles for the Echo look just like this. They're very similar to the King Bee. And then they have these little foot pads here for you. When I am taking this up and down, you know, outside and things like that, this is the part that I'm most concerned about. I really don't want to knock off one of these. They are very sturdy and on there quite well. Obviously, I haven't had any problems with it yet, but I am just kind of careful when I'm lifting it that I don't tilt it forward too much. I kind of lift straight up from the back, and I'll show you the handle for it. And then your feet just can sit on here, and it's really easy and smooth. And then to carry the Echo around, it's quite easy. Just right here on the back, they have a handle, and so I'll just turn this around for you really quickly. And then you can see it right here. This little line right here is where the head can come on and off if you want to change your flyer size, and you simply loosen it with this screw right here. So it's really easy. And then also the lazy Kate would go right there as well. But this little handle is nice. It just is easy to pick up. Like I said, the wheel only weighs like 14 or so pounds, and so you can kind of take it and move it around quite easily. I'm just careful of those little foot pegs on the bottom. All right, and then like the other wheel, the King Bee, the SpinOlution has the magnetic orifice here, so it just snaps on and off. And then it's got this hook orifice on it, and they also do offer the tube orifice. I actually prefer the hook, and I'll kind of show you why in just a second. But this just snaps on and off really easily. There's really nothing to it. And same thing with the bobbins. The bobbins just come on and off and just snap in. It's all just magnetic. So one of my favorite things about the SpinOlution wheels, just in general, are these hooks right here. They're not really hooks, they're just pegs. Especially when I was starting, the wheels that had the hooks on them, I felt like my yarn was getting tangled in them. And I could see that continuing to be an issue if you were spinning something a little heavier like art yarn or whatever. The SpinOlution just has these pegs, and they're just nice and smooth, so you don't really have any snagging on them or anything like that. One thing that is great for me is I just like the fact that to get started, all I have to do is wrap my yarn around there and then through my hook orifice here, and then I can just get started spinning. I don't have to, you know, fiddle with finding the little hook to pull it through here or pull it through anything up here. If it gets tangled, and every now and then it will happen where it'll come off a peg or something and it'll get tangled in here, and that has happened on the other wheels for me as well. The cool thing about the SpinOlution is you just have to take this off. Sometimes it'll get tangled around here. You just take it off, untangle it, put it back on. And if you were to be having one where there was, you know, you have to unscrew things and there was a tube here, you'd essentially end up having to tear your yarn to get it untangled, get it started back up, and then reattach. And I just think that's a nice feature for these wheels. You don't really have to mess around with any of that. And then as you're spinning, you just can change it to whichever hook. And I actually just go back and forth. I'll go to that side, and then I'll go to this one right here, and then I'll go to this one, and then I'll go to this one, and I just zigzag my way back and forth until I kind of slowly fill up, you know, my bobbin. And then the other thing you can do, which is kind of cool on these, is you can lace your yarn. So I could go from this one over to this one, and then spin, and then it actually will give you a little bit more time before your yarn gets sucked up onto your bobbin. And that just can help, especially if you're spinning something that's a little bit thinner. It won't suck it on quite as quickly, and it helps you just get a little bit more spin in it. And so I really like that feature. I saw that in one of Ashley's videos. Her channel is How to Spin on YouTube, and she's got a bunch of great beginning spinning tutorials, and that was kind of just a little tip that she kind of had put on there. And so I actually do that all the time. I'll just lace my yarn. I usually only lace it once, but I think you can do it as many times as you need to if you're spinning especially really thin yarn. If you're spinning thicker yarn, then you wouldn't necessarily need to do that. You can just put it around one of these, and yeah, you're all set to go. So that's how easy it is to sit down and start spinning with this wheel. I'm going to take this bobbin off and set that aside. I'm going to grab my next one and just get that one on, and we're ready to go. So I'm going to grab some fiber here. One of the things that I wanted to show you, actually let me take this off and see if I can show you a little bit better up close, is that the SpinOlution bobbins have this nice hook right here. They have one on both sides, and this is great for getting your yarn. Why is it not focusing? There we go. This is great for getting your yarn started, especially, you know, usually you'll do like a slip knot or something, and if it's not working and you don't have these SpinOlution bobbins, you can throw a piece of Scotch tape on there to keep it from slipping, just so you can kind of get started. But a lot of times your yarn will slip, and then you can't get, it won't be sucking onto the bobbin, and that's usually your number one issue, is that just that your slip knot is just spinning around the bobbin, and so it's not pulling your yarn on. So if you have that problem, try a little Scotch tape. If you have a SpinOlution wheel, you don't even have to do that. They have these handy little clips, and you can just clip it on and get going. So this is just my leader thread. I actually just used a piece of yarn because that was just what I had laying around. You can use string or whatever. And then I just have this on here all the time, and then when I put it on my wheel, I can just get going with whatever fiber that I'm going to spin. So I'll just lace it around here, lace it through here, and then I can yeah, just get started spinning. So let's do that. I'm going to grab some fiber here, and we'll get going. Okay, so I'm going to spin this stuff today. This is actually from Hedgehog Fibers. I got this at Fancy Tiger Crafts, so if you're in the Colorado area, they're in downtown Denver. It's merino nylon top, and it's hand dyed from Hedgehog Fibers. She makes beautiful yarn, and she also makes really cool fibers. And just to split this up, even though it came in a bag and it looks kind of not braided like a lot of the roving tops are, it actually is still roving. So what I'll do is find both of my ends like this, and then I'll just kind of go back down until I find the middle point, and then I'll start pulling it apart. And you can kind of see roving has natural breaks here. I'll try and find something that looks close to the middle as possible, and I'll kind of start pulling it apart that way, so that when I'm done here, I will be having two clumps. And you just don't want it to get twisted. Every now and then on these, I found that there's like a little piece. You just have to kind of pull on it, no big deal. Okay, so now I have two relatively even chunks. I'm going to set one aside, and I'm going to do the same thing to this next one. I'm going to find kind of a middle ground, which looks like somewhere right around here, and I'm going to do that again. You can certainly just spin from this as a whole. You don't have to sit here and split it up. If you're a new spinner, I do suggest you split it up. The smaller of a piece that you have to deal with at one time, the easier it's going to be for you. As you can see, this is pretty airy. If you're brand new, you may even want to separate this one more time. It's not going to do any harm. I'm probably going to spin, I think I'm going to spin these together. So I'll load one bobbin with my two halves, and then I still have to pull this one apart. I'll load the other bobbin with these two halves. If you split these into half again, so you have four of these little chunks right here, then just kind of keep those together and then keep your other chunks together, and then you know, like, okay, these 4 go on this bobbin, those 4 go on that bobbin, and then you can ply them together. For the one that I just did, this one, I actually spun it as singles. And so I just spun the entire thing on here. I just split it up into several chunks that were manageable for me, and then I just spun them all onto one bobbin. So lots of options in your spinning. For this one, I'm just gonna leave it like this, and I'll just take one of these and get started. I can do a video on how to kind of organize your fibers, you know, so that you're getting something a little more purposeful if you want. Just leave a comment below. But that's how I'm gonna do this one for this video, so let's get started on the spinning. Okay, so to get started, I'm simply going to take my leader. I'm gonna just start at the back and work my way forward. You can start on either side, it doesn't really matter. And then I'm just gonna take my fiber here, if you can kind of see that, and my end. And I'm just gonna kind of pull out some fiber and line it up with my yarn here. And then I'm just gonna get it going. And I'm just gonna hang on to it, and I'm not sure if you can see, but my fiber is starting to twist. Probably not. Here, hold on. Let me see if I can do a close-up. All right, hopefully you can kind of see right here, but my fiber is starting to twist with my yarn. My yarn was green and my fiber is kind of this aqua-y color. So I'm just gonna kind of let that get twisted. And once that's got enough twisted, I feel like it's gonna hang on when I start, then I'll let it kind of start sucking that up. And then with my right hand, I'm just pulling out just a little bit of fiber here. You can make it as thick or as thin as you want. I'm really close to the orifice. I would normally be back a little bit. I'm just trying to kind of give you a close-up view of how much fiber I'm pulling out here. So not very much, just like about that much. And then I slide my fingers back, not letting go of my fiber, so that I'm kind of controlling and allowing the spin to go back with my fingers. It's not going past them though. And then once I've got enough spin in it, I'll kind of just continue feeding my wheel a little bit more at a time. Like that. And I'll just continue feeding a little bit more and a little bit more. And as you can tell, if I'll stop talking for a second, you can't hardly even hear this wheel making any noise other than that whirling sound. Alright, so I let my fiber break just to kind of show you how easy it is. Now if I had a tube orifice, I would have to be getting some kind of a hook to draw it back through, but I just have to pull it back out and then hoop it around my hook and then just get started again. Not a big deal at all. To get started, I'll pinch the two together. Once I feel like I have a bunch of twists built up, I'll let go. And you can kind of see it traveling. And just keep going. And I've got a little bit of a crazy blob right here, so I'll just try and work my way through that. And here we go. We're off and spinning. Now, one of my tips if you're a beginning spinner is to, I think, my friend and I, oops, I got off my hooks. My friend and I were both doing this, but if you're holding your fiber too close, there's a staple length for each different fiber, and it's different for each one. If you're holding it here and holding it here and trying to pull it apart, let's use down here as an example, you can't really pull it apart. But if you move this hand farther back and start pulling, then all of a sudden you can pull them apart. So I actually keep my right hand clear back against my stomach almost, and then my right hand is up here kind of dealing with the fiber. So let me kind of show you what that looks like. So I have my left hand clear back here, my right hand is up farther forward, and that way it can kind of control. It can pull what it wants. It doesn't have to pull a lot. It can pull a lot. It can kind of do whatever it wants. My right hand is kind of my quality control. If you're left-handed, you might want to try drafting with your left hand instead. If I see a blob, then I'll kind of pull my other hand up to just kind of control that. But otherwise, This hand back here just kind of stays back here. I'm barely holding on, basically just enough so that this fiber doesn't, you know, completely come out of my hands. I'll let a blob go through there, but that's okay. And I'm using my right hand to control my draft. And like I said, as I pull it forward, I'm just sliding it back down towards my fiber bundle, not letting any of that spin get past my hand. And I think if you're a beginner, it's really easy to try and just take this whole chunk and feed it into the wheel, and then you end up with overspinning, and it's really hard once the spin gets back past your quality control hand here. Once it gets past this, any little amount of spin is going to make this hard to draft, and so you have to be really careful not to get any spin past these fingers. So I just use my right hand to just gently hold the fibers. I'm just kind of barely squeezing it, like hardly at all, with my thumb, just so the whole thing doesn't come out. And then this hand is the one that's actually doing the drafting and controlling how much and how little I take out. But this hand is really barely even doing anything. And I just actually lay my left hand back here on my leg, and then it just kind of sits there, just kind of, you know, holding onto the fiber, but barely. My right hand is doing all the work. Now, if you feel like your wheel isn't pulling up your yarn as quickly as you would like it to, you can always just tighten up your tension knot back here. I actually don't even hardly have any tension on at all right now, because the thinner you spin your yarn, the less tension you need. If you're spinning really thicker, more artsy yarn, you would probably want to turn that up. I'm obviously not doing that right now. I'm spinning fairly thin single here, and so I don't really need my tension up very high. The wheel is kind of pulling it on just fine as it is. But if you need to adjust that, you can. And I suggest just kind of trying different things, trial and error, until you get something that feels right to you. If you're getting a lot of over twist in your yarn here before you're getting it sucked on, then just change to a larger whirl. If you're a beginner, I would actually start out on this wood one on your flyer head here, and then as you get a little bit better, or if you're spinning thinner yarn, then you'll want to go down to the fastest one. So the smaller whirl will spin faster, the larger whirl will spin slower, and that, especially if you're a beginner, is really nice because it'll give you some time to get used to drafting before, you know, you're overspinning your yarn. So you can kind of just fiddle with it, try different things until you get it, you know, to a place where it's working for you and for your style of yarn and whatever fiber you're using. The other thing I suggest if you're a beginner is to get kind of a hodgepodge variety of different fibers to play with. This one, like I said, was merino nylon. I've done BFL, Targhee. I haven't done silk yet. That's on my list of things to do. You can get like cashmere mixes. They're all different prices depending on, you know, how they're blended. And you can just kind of try the different ones and see which ones you like. I think Corriedale was a great one to start off with because it has it's a little bit rougher of a fiber, and it sticks to itself really well. And so it was easier, I think, for me to learn the drafting technique using something like Corriedale or maybe Falkland, when you're not having to deal with something that's super slippery and, you know, kind of sliding out of your hands, because it's already, you know, hard enough to kind of get the control of drafting, that I wouldn't suggest starting with something that's super slippery, silky, and things like that. But it is nice to try a variety and just kind of see what you like, get used to spinning different things, try, you know, different methods. There's lots of videos on YouTube. Ashley from How to Spin has a ton of different ones. She shows you how to spin art yarn, kind of what all the different fibers look like, what they look like when they're spun. And so I say just have fun, try different things. What's the worst that could happen, you know? Just go for it. And this one is spinning really lovely. I like the colors in the hedgehog fibers. They're really, really pretty. This one will kind of, let me slow down my wheel here and give you a look at what it's doing. There we go. Hopefully it's not too washed out for you, but I've kind of got this kind of green color. This down here was my leader thread. This is some of it. And now we've moved into this kind of aqua kind of speckle thing here. So really cool. Okay, so let's say we got to a place where, you know, this was full enough and we wanted to move to another hook. All you have to do is just pick a different hook to go to, wrap it around your hook orifice, and then just get started again. And then I'm not sure if that's what they're for, but there's these two that are really close together, and I always use that to just wrap my fiber around if I'm gonna go and do something else and I just want it, you know, I don't want the spin to get back into the rest of my fiber. So I find that really handy. I'm not sure if that's why they put that there or not, but it works for me. You can also just wrap it around the hook as well. That kind of works, and then you can go and do something else and then just come back and pick it up and start spinning. All right, let's talk a little bit about the Lazy Kate. So since I didn't get the Lazy Kate with the Echo, I have this cute little box I got at, I think, Home Goods or Target or somewhere, I can't remember. And anyways, I usually set my fiber in here just because it's pretty and I like it. But I also found out that if I stick a barbecue skewer, and this is just a metal skewer, it's got this little guy in the end, which is nice because it helps from sliding through the holes here. And then I've got handles on both sides of these. And so what I've done is I take one of my bobbins and I just slide that through there and then just set it in there like that. And the hook is on this side over here. Hopefully you can kind of see this guy. So the hook's on this side so it can't slide through, and then it just sticks out far enough on the other side to keep the bobbin in here. And my bobbin can spin freely and it can kind of go slide from side to side. So what I found is when I'm plying off of this, I usually have it kind of going this way so that as I'm pulling my bobbin, it's pulling towards this side, so that this stops it from, you know, coming out. And then all you have to do is grab your yarn and you can pull right off of it. And so that makes it actually really nice. Another trick I've done is also plied off of my Swift. So I'll get my yarn onto my Niddy Noddy and then I'll just put it onto my Swift, set my Swift up on my table, and I can ply off my Swift and this combined. So that makes it kind of nice. I've also seen people, obviously I can only get one bobbin in here. I've also seen people buy those plastic bins like from Target or Walmart that have the holes in the sides, and then you can fit 2 skewers through. You can fit 2 or 3 bobbins in there, kind of depending on how big of a basket you get. But that's just a nice, easy kind of DIY Lazy Kate that works great, and it was just kind of like a last minute, oh, I need to ply, what am I going to do kind of thing, and this works great. So if you don't have a Lazy Kate, this could work for any wheel. Just get yourself some kind of a little storage box, or like I said, those plastic bins with holes in them, and stick barbecue skewers through them, and you're all set. All right, so let's talk a little bit about fiber. So I buy most of my fiber online. I have gotten some from Karen's shop. She has a great variety of fibers there. One of the favorite ones that I've gotten there is by Aspen Kid. She has an Instagram, and she makes these really cool bats, and they're amazing colors. And she also spins really, really cool art yarn. This particular one is, yeah, it says hand dyed. It's kind of a mix of fibers, but it's really, really beautiful. And she's got all kinds of different colors that you can get. I'm excited to spin this. I don't want to pull it out and get it too crazy, but anyway, so that's one of my favorite. Aspen Kid, Aspen Kid Fibers is what she's called, and she is local to me actually, and so she does sell her fibers at Karen's shop, and she also has sold some of her hand spun yarn there. It's really, really fun. So if you have a chance, definitely go and check that out. Oh, I wanted to show you quickly also a couple of things that I've done just in kind of testing things out. So here is a piece that I spun not too long ago. This particular bundle, I've got pictures of it when it was in fiber still. I'll see if I can insert it here or not. But this one is from Created by Elsie. She's one of my favorite dyers. This particular one is called Country Evening. And instead of plying it by, with itself, I actually plied it with this. So this is, I think it's 10-2 mercerized cotton. Karen is gonna kill me if I get this wrong, I can't remember. I think that's what it's called. But it's just a mercerized cotton thread. A lot of people use this for weaving, and I thought it'd be kind of cool. Karen actually suggested this to me to ply it with this. And as you can see, it definitely changes the look of the yarn a little bit. It gives it an overall lighter color, but I think it's actually really, really cool. All right, and then just because that was so much fun, I did another one. And so this one is called Coastal Calm. So here is the yarn itself. This again was created by Elsie as well, her fiber. And it had a really cool kind of, you know, just relaxed vibe to it. And then I plied it with this aqua, same thing, 10-2 mercerized cotton. It's either 10-2 or 210. I think it's 10-2. And this has a little bit of a sheen to it, which makes it kind of cool. And then when you ply it with the yarn, it definitely gives it like an overall tone to it. So I really like how this one turned out. It's really pretty. I love the colors. It's very just kind of calm and relaxing. Okay, so those were my 2 trial spins here. And I think they turned out really cool. I like that you can definitely see what the tone does to each one when you ply it with these. So don't always think that you have to kind of spin 2 bobbins and ply it with itself. There's other options out there. There's she's done some with silver, some with gold. There's just a lot of cool things you can do. I have a friend who just did kind of a colorful one, and she spun it with a purple. It ended up looking really, really cool. All right, so there's those. So those are my latest spins. And like I said, I've been spinning for a couple months now, I think. So, all right, one of my other favorite places to get things is Wound Up Fiber Arts. And she is on Etsy as well at, let's see, Instagram as Wound Up Fiber Arts. And then she's got her own shop. So the link to her shop is in her Instagram profile. She's also on Ravelry. And this particular one is called Fruit Salad. And let me see if I can get it to focus on the card for you. There we go. Fruit Salad by Wound Up Fiber Arts. She actually just had a sale. These are 4-ounce braids. And then this particular one is organic merino. All right. And then I actually got another one from her. This one is super pretty. This one is called Super Size, and this is a super wash merino, again from Wound Up Fiber Arts. Isn't that pretty? And these are just 4-ounce braids, and they're super soft and delicious. I love them. This is another one of the Hedgehog Fibers dyed rovings. This is merino nylon top, and I got this from Fancy Tiger Crafts. I actually have looked online and I've seen a couple places. You have to search for Hedgehog Fibers merino nylon top and see if you can kind of find it. There's not a lot of it out there, but if you can get your hands on it, it's so much fun. That's what the one that's on my wheel here, this blue one that I showed you, was, and that's the one that I had started spinning. Let me grab some. This stuff. This is the one that I was spinning as a demo in the video for you. So the colors are just really fun, and they're really fun to spin as well. The merino nylon kind of combo makes it super easy to spin. They're not super slippery, they're grippy, but you still get a fun variety of colors. I have this one, is one of my newest ones. This is from Created by Elsie, and this one is called I have the Storm, I believe. Yes, and this is merino tencel silk combo, and those white kind of strippies that you see in there, I believe is the silk. I think she told me that or it might be the tencel, I'm not sure. I think it's the silk, but she told me it doesn't take the dye quite as much as the other, so it provides this really cool kind of I don't know, streaky effect in there. Now I will say that I've spun one of these before, and you can't see the white as well when you're spinning it, kind of disappears. Karen said there's some ways around that, and she has another class that I'd like to take from her that's more of an advanced spinning class where she goes into more more techniques on spinning. But that one was created by Elsie. But this one is created by Elsie, and again, this was Eye of the Storm. All right. I have another one from her, and this one, all right, so I have another one from her. This one is called Tapestry Rose. It's 40% superwash merino, 25% alpaca, 25% nylon, and 10% mulberry silk. It's super, super soft, and I'm interested in spinning this. I've been kind of waiting because it feels really soft and squishy and a little bit slippery. And so I just want to get to a point where I feel like I can, you know, do a better job with this one. But it's really, really soft, and I'm definitely kind of excited to spin this one. So there's that. And then the last one I'm going to show you today is from Hey Lady Hey. And this one is called Hey Cupcake. Let me see if I can get the tag here for you. Hey Cupcake by Hey Lady Hey. She's got an Instagram, and she's also got heyladyhey.com website where you can see her fibers. She also has some really cool hand-dyed yarns. But this one is just super colorful and fun, and I'm just really excited. This one's a merino wool, 4 ounces comb top. She actually even has staple length and washing instructions on there for you. And I've seen one of these spun up before, and it just looks like a really fun, colorful braid, and so I was super excited. I had to wait for her to relist these in her shop because they're not, you know, the indie dyers don't always have everything available. So it was worth the wait. It's really, really pretty, and yeah, I'm excited to spin it. So, all right, and then the last one I'd like to mention is Three Waters Farms. She has some really cool colored braids in her shop. This particular one is Opening Farewell, and then I also got, okay, and then I also got this one. This one is called Nana, and it's also by Three Waters Farm, and this one is also superwash merino and tussa silk, 40-40-20 blend. So this one looks really, really pretty. I'm excited. It's super soft and squishy, so I'm excited to spin that one as well. All right, guys, so that's my kind of fiber haul, some of the places that I like to get my fiber from as well. If you're searching for fiber online, I definitely suggest reading the reviews. Sometimes when dyers are dyeing their fiber, they can accidentally felt the fiber, and so you definitely want to just buy from someone who has a good reputation of, you know, putting out beautiful spinning fiber so that when you get it, it's not all compacted and kind of stuck together and you're having to really tug to get it to come apart. Your fiber should be nice and loose and fluffy and soft feeling, and as long as people have good reviews on Etsy or online, I think that you're probably safe. If you want to try out a dyer, or you're not familiar with them but you like a colorway that they have, go for a superwash. Superwash won't felt, and so even if they were maybe a more inexperienced dyer, it's not a big deal because the superwash will keep the product from felting and you'll still get some really fun, pretty colors. There should also be washing instructions as well. You can buy you can do Dawn detergent. You can also wash your finished spun product in wool wash or whatever. I suggest, how I wash mine is I just put in a little bit of the wool wash, soak it in pretty hot water, not scalding hot, but hotter than warm, somewhere in between there, and I let it soak for about 15 minutes. Take it out carefully, kind of squish the water out. You don't want to wring it or anything like that, but just squish the water out, and then put it on a towel, roll it up, stomp on it, and then you can take your yarn outside, thwack it a couple times if you want, and then hang it to dry. And you won't be washing this fiber until after it's spun, so that's not something that you would do right off the bat when you get it or anything. So don't worry about that. You get your fiber, you spin it, and then you wash it, and you know, thwack it and hang it to dry, and then you can skein it up and knit or crochet or whatever you'd like to do with it. So anyways, that's where I like to get my fiber from. I usually get it online, or like I said, we have a couple of shops around here that have some cool fiber selections. So you'll just have to search in your area. If you'd like to see any of the Etsy shops that I mentioned, I'll try and link those in my description box below as well. Alright guys, so that was my review for the SpinOlution Echo. I absolutely love this wheel. I couldn't love it more, I don't think. I do get a lot of questions between people who have seen my pictures of the Echo and the King Bee on Instagram, and they're like, which one would you go for? At this point, I think it really just depends on your lifestyle. If you're someone who travels a lot, like say you do a lot of road trips, RVing, things like that, or if you go to a lot of guilds or you know, spin nights and things like that, I might actually go for the King Bee because it is very portable. comfortable. It folds up so nicely. I don't really worry about taking it places. You can fold it all up, stick it in your car. It's got an onboard lazy gate, which is great. It also has more ratio options on it, so that is kind of a nice feature about the King Bee as well. It is a little bit more expensive, and I think it only comes in the 8-ounce. I could be wrong on that, but I think that's what they say. I think the Queen Bee is 4-ounce, and then the King Bee is 8-ounce, and you can't really swap out the heads like you can on the Echo, and some of the the Polywog and the Mock and things like that. So that's one nice thing about SpinOlution is you can swap out the heads for whatever size you want. One of the things that I've noticed is that if you get like say 8 or 16-ounce bobbin, I feel like you could spin whatever you wanted, thin, thick, art yarn, whatever, without having to purchase a different flyer. So that's kind of nice. You're not having to purchase a bunch of extra accessories just to change your yarn style, especially with the hoop orifice or the hook orifice. I think that really makes the variety possible without having to do a lot of changing of the wheel itself. So that's one of my, one of my favorite things about their wheels. They're more affordable in that manner, if you want to look at it that way. So if you do a lot of traveling or whatever, I definitely would go for the King Bee. For me, myself, I actually prefer the Echo for a couple of reasons. One of them is just purely looks. I love the look of the wheel. I like to see it spinning as I'm going, and I also like the simplicity of it. There's only one drive band on this, so there's kind of less things to go wrong or have to deal with, I think, for the Echo. It's just very easy and simple to use. Really all I'm messing with are the whorls up here at the top, and that is it. And then I just like the look of the wheel itself. I like the little holes they have here. The Mock is really cool as well because they have flower designs on it, and beautiful wheel, but it's way heavy and definitely not a wheel you would take traveling around. The Echo, I think, kind of serves both purposes for me. It may have less speed ratios than the King Bee, but it's still only 14 pounds, and it's really easy for me to take to a spin night or, out, like I mentioned, outside or whatever. I don't fold it up. I'm just very careful when I carry it so I'm not knocking the foot pedals or my flyer or anything like that. So I think choosing between the two, I would go for the Echo. It's a little bit less expensive than the King Bee. Granted, it doesn't come with the onboard lazy gate, but I kind of showed you my fix for that already. And so there really isn't anything I can't do on this wheel, and I just like the look of it better. It's a very smooth treadling. With the King Bee, there were some ratios in there that you can't really do because the drive bands slip, and they have all that on their website. But just as overall, I feel like this one might be a little bit smoother in the treadling department. It's also a little bit quieter. The King Bee wasn't loud or anything. This one is just almost makes like no sound at all. It's just very like, you can kind of hear the whirling, just the wind whirling a little bit, but that's it. It's very peaceful and yeah. So I think overall you can spin the exact same types of yarn on both of the wheels. One's just more portable than the other, but I think for features and functionality, they're both very, very similar, and they actually do treadle quite similarly. I just think that this one's a little slightly smoother, and I just like the look of the wheel. So I would go for the Echo, but it kind of depends on what your needs are and what fits your budget as well. And then they also have the Polywog I mentioned, which is less expensive, better for kids, really easy to travel with, but and you can do like an 8-ounce bobbin on it. I'm not sure how the 8-ounce bobbin pulls up because I wasn't able to kind of play with that at Karen's shop, but I did have to really crank my tension on the Polywog to get it to suck up the my yarn once my bobbin was getting fuller. Now at that time I was also spinning very thick yarn because I was still learning, so that might not be as much of an issue if you're spinning thinner yarn, I'm not sure. The Mach 3, much more expensive, much less portable, very powerful, beautiful wheel. You can feel the power between it. I think that I felt like I was getting a leg workout while I was spinning that. I mean, once you get it going, the momentum kind of helps you out, but that wheel is definitely like no joke. But it's a beautiful, amazing wheel, but it's definitely not something you'd be wanting to like tote around places. And then they also have the Hopper and the Firefly, and then I think they're the Gypsy. I haven't seen that one actually, but anyways, they have a variety of wheels. So just head over to the SpinOlution website. They have videos on all their wheels and different features and functionality and those kinds of things. But anyways, long story short, love the Echo. Definitely would purchase it again. It was for sure worth the money. There is a little bit of wait on delivery because I think, you know, well, they were a little bit back ordered because they just had a sale, but they also make the wheels as you're ordering them. And so I think that's the same with any wheel dealer though, where you order something, they don't necessarily keep them in stock, and then they are making them and shipping them kind of at a constant rate, and so you just have to wait a little bit. But I think it was definitely worth the wait. I haven't had any issues with this wheel. I love it so much. And I honestly just look forward to just heading upstairs in the, you know, the evening and just spinning a little bit and just relaxing. So anyways, thank you so much for sticking around for this video. If you have any questions, make sure to leave a comment below. You're also welcome to email me. I'll put all of my information below for that. I'll put Karen's information below as well. She has these, she has SpinOlution wheels. She also has other brands if you want to head into her shop and try them out. It's definitely worth it. She's super helpful, and you know, she's a shop, but she doesn't hesitate to tell you, you know, pluses and minuses and just kind of help you out and figure out what works best for you for each different, you know, all the different brands and that kind of thing. She also has weaving supplies, knitting supplies, roving, you know, like I said, she has alpaca farms, so she has her own stuff that she's spun. She's an amazing spinner, and she has classes and kind of just anything you could want, and she's super friendly and nice. So I just can't say enough about Karen. She's awesome. We love her. So anyways, if you have any other questions, please make sure to email me. I'll do my best to get back to you and help out. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for spending time with me today, and I will see you next time.